Start and end your day with the good news. The Good News with Angie Austin. Find the podcast of past shows at angieaustinradio.com. Now, here's Angie Austin and friends with the good news.
I like that.
And then something super cool, Adam's Camp. Now, this is the coolest thing because if you have a child with a disability and then they go to therapy, let's say for speech, or maybe one mom said she wanted her child to be able to get in and out of the car on their own because she's a little lady and it was hard for her to lift her 9-year-old in and out. They will work in intensive therapy for an entire week, and all of the therapists and doctors come together. So, for instance, Adam, they started the camp for him. He learned how to walk. He was 5 years old, and in that week of intensive therapy, he learned to walk. Huge, life-changing for the family.
Wow.
So they started 30-some-odd years ago, Adam's parents, Adam's Camp, and I know Adam.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and so one of the parents is going to come in and explain how this week of all the experts coming together and working intensively with their child, the differences that come out of this, what they can teach them in 1 week.
Do they go into the home or do they?
YMCA the Rockies, my favorite place on the face of the earth.
I know you love that place.
I do love that place.
Very cool.
All right, changing gears, as you know I like to do. There's a wonderful camp. It's called Adam's Camp, and it's the coolest concept, so I have to explain it to you. And I thought, what better way to do that than to bring in one of the parents who benefits from their services, and also Sarah Hartway. She's the developmental director of Adam's Camp, and Maureen Bennett. She is a parent, and her daughter, who's 9 years old, attends Adam's Camp. So welcome to both of you.
Thanks,
you.
Angie.
Sarah, I'll start with you since you are the developmental director. What exactly is Adam's Camp? Because a lot of people, a lot of things come together to help these kids.
Absolutely. So Adam's Camp is a group of programs all geared toward helping children through young adults who have special needs and their families to be able to realize their potentials, grow their strengths.
Yeah, I've been up at YMCA the Rockies when some of the camp members were there, and boy, were they having fun. But I love the idea, the way it was explained to me by Adam's mother, who started Adam's Camp, and I know Adam through ARC, and he's differently abled, and I love the idea of getting all these different professionals together as a team. So you might have someone that helps with speech, someone that helps with reading, someone that helps with math skills, whatever it may be.
Right.
And they all come together as a team. How did that all come about? What a great idea, because I find that even with a doctor, well, this doctor said do this, and this speech person said do this, and this, so they're all together.
You are absolutely right. And it's the fact that the team works as a team that is so unique about our programs. So you asked how it came about. It came about with Adam himself, the namesake of the camp. He was 5 years old and wasn't yet able to walk. And his family heard of a physical therapist who would work with him really intensely for a week. And they decided to give it a try. At the end of the week, Adam was walking.
And that's the other part, that it's intense. It's a whole week of getting help
intensive
from all these
therapy.
people.
Right, because children with special needs often are able to access whatever different therapies they may need, whether that's speech or physical therapy, but it typically happens in intermittent visits, maybe an hour a week.
Interesting,
And so the
yes.
idea of doing a big burst of intensive therapy was sort of a new way of looking at it. And when Adam and his family came away from that week with him walking, they realized this really holds promise. So the
genius.
next year, they said, let's get 5 families of kids with special needs and 5 therapists together and see if we can impact other kids and families this way. And that was 30 years ago.
And
this
it
is our
worked.
30th anniversary.
And by the way, Adam is
worked.
very high functioning. It's hard for me to believe he couldn't walk because he's a character. I mean, he walk, talk. He's got a job with ARC and a responsible job in the business office. So I think this whole idea is genius, to get all the experts together and to give that intensive therapy. And Maureen Bennett, your 9-year-old daughter attends. So talk about your experience, what this has been like for your family.
So Caitlin has a developmental disability, kind of a global disability, and we went into Adam's Camp not really knowing what to expect, but the fact that she was just a little 4-year-old and had been doing speech therapy and physical therapy and occupational therapy, but we've never really looked at her like from the big picture.
Yeah.
And we came in and these 5 therapists sat down with Caitlin and they said, how can we impact her in just a 1-week visit, 1 week's time?
Yeah.
And they worked with her on empowering her on how to communicate better. She's nonverbal, but they gave her some some tools to use so that she could let us know what her desires were, what her needs were.
And how did that work?
It was remarkable. We
Really?
didn't walk away from Adam's Camp like saying, oh my God, Caitlin can talk now. But let me just tell you that from a whole family perspective, Caitlin attended this camp for 6 hours a day. Her sister went to a SIB camp for 6 hours a day where she was like hiking and swimming and doing archery and rafting and doing all the things that kids do at camp. So she was having a blast and really engaged. And then Kevin and me, my husband, we kind of just took walks and we had time to ourselves and we connected with each other and we connected with the other families.
Yeah, the other parents.
So the chance to not only have some respite for the two of us, but to meet other folks who were walking this same journey,
Right.
we didn't even know that that's what we were missing. That sense of community we had never had
Huge.
in our lives. And when we could sit down and chat with these other folks who were saying, well, what do you do when your kid does this? And what speech therapist do you go to? And where do you take your kid for this medical need or that medical need? And it was so inspiring and so enriching to just have this opportunity to be with these other parents. We didn't know we even needed it, but we walked away going, okay, we're never not going to Adam's Camp again. It was like our whole family's camp. All of us benefited.
And you've been going for years since then.
That this past summer was our 6th year. And, the therapist worked on things with Caitlin that you might not think are really monumental or noteworthy, but, they're helping her learn how to put her shoes on by herself and learn how to wash her own hands. And these are life skills that matter in our day-to-day. They're actually helping her getting in and out of the car. Caitlin's mobile, but big and she's heavy and she's intellectually delayed. So helping her to understand, like, I need you to get in the car, Caitlin, was, I was like just picking her up and putting her in and I'm breaking my back.
You're not a very big lady.
And they worked with her all week long for 5 straight days. I would never have 5 days of time to sit and work with Caitlin on getting in and out of the car, but they, by the end of the week, had her able to get in that car by herself, and my back is saved.
Yeah.
So there's just all these little things that come together about Adam's Camp. They're little and they're big. For Caitlin, for her sister, who's meeting other kids who have a kid with special needs in their family, and what that's like.
Yeah, to be a sibling that has their other, one other sibling that's dealing with being differently abled. How do you as a sibling tackle that?
Yes, and she didn't even know that she needed to talk about these things with someone else, and she did, and it was really helpful for her.
And what's the age difference between
Just
your
2
daughters?
years.
Just 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So they've attended the same schools at times?
No, unfortunately, Caitlin hasn't been able to go to our home elementary school. She's in a special program. So they don't go to school together, which actually is a bummer for her older sister. She loves her baby sister so much and loves the fact that this is their camp. It's not Caitlin's camp.
Right.
It is their camp, and we all enjoy it.
Well, obviously, you've got to get a lot of specialists together because this has obviously grown a lot in the past 30 some odd years, Adam's
Absolutely.
Camp. So how does this all come together, Sarah, for the parents like Maureen and her family?
You know what? It takes a whole year of planning to
Wow,
pull off
really?
each summer of camp. It truly does, because there are so many elements to it. So as you said, we pull all these different specialists together, but in addition to that, we really plan that sibling program. We plan educational opportunities and activities for the parents. Those are always optional because we realize in some cases what the parents need most is that
Rest.
break. But some
yeah.
of them are really eager to learn more about particular topics, and that's a good opportunity for them to
educate
do
the
so.
parents as well.
Right.
And then you can give specific input, like Maureen, that you could give, say, I need help with this.
Right,
I need her to
absolutely.
get in
It's
the
very,
car.
very much a team effort with the therapists and with the families to determine
Wonderful.
what are the best goals for Caitlin for the week.
And how many families come now?
So for these programs, these family therapy camps, last year we had about 130 families. This year we're going to have over 140.
Wow. All right, if people want to find out more, maybe even get involved if they're a specialist, how do they reach you and become involved?
Go to adamscamp.com. That's a great way to learn more. All our contact information is there as well. We'd love to tell you more.
Well, thank you both so much for coming in. I think
Thanks,
it's just a
Angie.
really neat camp that people should know about because it really is helping the whole family, as you mentioned, Maureen. All right, Sarah and Maureen, thank you so much. Adam's Camp, check it out.
Thank you.